I'm here to represent the Kent Downs Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty, Kent Orchards for Everyone. This is a very holistic project covering all aspects of biodiversity, orchards, community engagement, empowerment of local parishes, parish councils. But firstly, orchards began here first in Kent, just down the road from here in Tenham. Philip Haygate said, "Kent, sir, everybody knows Kent. Apples, pears, cherries, hops, and we'll forget the rest." So some of you saw some cherry orchards yesterday. A huge cherry orchard with trees probably 40, 50 feet high. How many of you have had the opportunity to actually go into a cherry orchard? Some of you maybe, but probably very few. We also have lots of traditional apple orchards, pear orchards, plum orchards, coconut plats, but it all began here in Kent, in the Garden of England. So, cherries, yeah, if you look after them, you've got a good orchard. And this is what we've been trying to do with communities. But as I say, it's not just cherries. So, how did this project begin? How did it work? We have 15 traditional community orchards. In fact, 2 of those are newly planted orchards. We have 4 countryside management partners, or rangers in other words, who are there to support. And there's myself, one dedicated part-time officer in this project. The project, it's a 4-year project. We've managed to extend it to 5 years. We've had funding from Heritage Lottery, 220,000 plus match funding of 18% from the local councils and 1 or 2 other groups. So yeah, we needed a lot of enthusiasm. We needed to bring people together. We needed to inspire them, to empower them to actually come and look after these orchards, because the parish councils had no idea what to do with them. So we started off by training. Yeah, Kent, sir. Everybody knows Kent, but how do they look after these orchards? So what have we achieved? We trained the local community to look after their trees. To say, we've also created 6 more, or supported 6 more community orchards outside the project. People have come and said, "I want a community orchard. What do I do? How do I do it?" And I've been along, we've showed them, we've taken them to some of these community orchards, and we've shown them exactly how it works. So we have a tier system. So say we have the CMPs, who we've also trained. We have, below that, community orchard wardens. So orchard wardens within each parish. Some of the parishes are actually in the middle of a town, so it's not all out in the countryside. And through those, we have actually trained a lot of volunteers. 227 volunteers have gained skills learning how to look after their orchards. So, on top of that, we have taught them how to scythe, which you saw earlier, because some of the orchards are too small or not fenced, and so we can't raise them. They have public access. Each of them has public access. People walk dogs in them. Sheep and dogs don't mix. So yes, we've started scything. They had great fun, great fun. We've also planted some wildflower meadows. We've taught them how to create new wildflower meadows from a meadow next door. We've planted lots of hedges. We've done a lot of fencing. In fact, all the communities have done this themselves. And as I mentioned earlier, the CMPs, they are the people who are the next tier up, who are going to help support this project. But orchards are slightly different to woodlands. We have a woodlanders group. They actually pruned their fruit trees. So they lopped the branches off at the bottom. We have a fruit tree that zigzags up. Okay for woodland trees, but not for orchard trees. So we have trained the countryside management partnerships to actually help support the orchard wardens in their projects. But what else have we done in this? Orchards aren't just about how to prune, how to graft. Traditional orchards have a huge amount of biodiversity, fantastic habitat, so much so that one of the orchards now has the bee orchid and the pyramidal orchids growing. So we have taught them how to manage those orchards. We've looked at lichens, lichens. We've also looked at wildlife, reptiles. Children have been out there. They've taken their dinosaurs with them, and they have shown their dinosaurs to the great crested newts because we have lots of ponds in the orchards. They've looked at the slow worms. They've held a slow worm. Absolutely fascinated by it. So we've had so many people. Bats. Natterer's bat one day at the end of a walk. Ooh, that's the first time we came across that. We've seen so many things. In fact, they have learnt so much. And this is based on a platform to start surveying. They now know what to do. They have the equipment to go out and survey their orchards. Yes, noble chafer. We have it in one of our orchards, the only orchard we know of in Kent where it's living. And the water vole, babies popped out the other day in another orchard. But also education. We're looking at supporting people from all aspects of the community. Children through to those that have those memories of what the orchards were like, when they used to go out with their grandmothers, when they used to climb up those ladders, yes, up to 65 stays, and scrumping in the background. We have lots of those memories. We've contacted people through social media, through picking things up from, oh, my grandmother used to do that, right down to the point when I found the will of the first person who planted our community orchard, or should we say, national fruit collection back in 1533, head fruiterer to Richard Harris. So we've looked at that. But education.
Could I give you a 2-minute warning, please?
Children are building bee hotels. Children are actually participating in orchards with an education project. We're celebrating. That's the way to get volunteers. Celebrate, enjoy, bring them in. Ooh, we would like to do some of that. And as I mentioned, discovering our heritage is invaluable because it then explains why these orchards are important. So here, this is picking cherries in the Kent Downs. I bet nobody remembers those ladders. Looking at old maps, where were the orchards? That's where we've just planted a new orchard. Interpretation. It's not just for adults, it's for children as well. Yes, an apple, pear, cherry, cobnut, and a grub. We've had over 9,000 participants. How did we achieve this? A new web hub, Facebook page, going out and speaking, celebrating, television. And by the way, there is a program coming up in September. And magazines. But how do we do it? Or what do we do now? Firstly, we say thank you to the Heritage Lottery for 220,000 with 9,000 people participating. And to make the whole thing sustainable, we're setting up an Orchards Trust, which will then sit under the Orchards Network. Kent has nothing. It has the national fruit collections, but nothing else. So all of these people we've worked with, they will then be supported by the Orchards Trust under the Kent Downs AONB Trust. Thank you.